Yay. Okay, Amber Skies. This is just kind of a variation on Clear Skies, which is something that I'm going to do every once in a while, just to like break up the monotony of Clear Skies a little bit. You know, that's one that we can. It's one of our, I guess, flagship, you might say, beers. Certainly one that we plan to like hang our hat on. So if you think about Clear Skies, West Coast IPA, which means that it's clear and not opaque. Also heavy on the bitterness. So we load that bitterness charge of hops, and that really gets us like a nice, just like building bitterness on the finish. That folks who really like hops but are not so into the hazy style, which has, you know, kind of swept the market for the last 5 to 10 years. We've got some old school folks who really like that West Coast style better. That this line, in keeping with what we were just talking about off camera, which is like the lines and how they're gonna kind of like stay in one lane. This line is always going to be like a clear IPA with a lot of bitterness on it. Some of the variants that we're going to do basically are going to change the color of the beer. In order to change the color of the beer, does anybody know what's like the primary ingredient that we can change to kind of toggle the color of a beer? Just shout it out. I know you might not have expected to be quizzed this morning. Okay, so think about the 4 ingredients, right? You've got water, malt, hops, yeast. Which of those things do you think you'd change to change the color of the beer? You would think correctly. Very good. So, what we can do is take our malt, which has been kilned or toasted to different colors in the malting process, and combine different types of malts to create a unique color. So we've had a lot of requests for an amber ale, which I'm not too stoked on making. It's kind of like an older style that I think has been made kind of ad nauseum. That's just my opinion. But I do like I don't like to ignore requests, and we've got a bunch of requests for an amber ale. So my idea for that was to be like, all right, let's take this IPA and make it an amber color. So what we have as a result is an amber IPA, which is not really like a style. This is just kind of like a, not figment of my imagination is the wrong word, but like, whatever, I made it up. And so we have this. So this is kind of answers the folks who come in here maybe wanting some kind of amber ale. The trick is with those guys, they just have to be able to deal with a very bitter and hoppy amber. So that's it. That's the conceptualization of this. Variants on down the line of Clear Skies might be Red Skies, which will be pretty similar in color to this, but like really like red. Or Black Skies, Black IPA, also kind of an obscure like dead style that is fun to bring back every once in a while. And if you have any ideas like in that vein, let me know.
Red Skies, you should call it Red Skies at night.
Yeah, yeah. If we put it in the beer description, that's like, yeah, that'd be cool. So that's the concept of the beer. As far as what you're getting in the glass, it's going to be a little bit maltier than Clear Skies, but you're still going to get essentially that same hop bitterness. So let's take a look at this guy and tell me what you're getting. Right. Amber, you look like you want to say something.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like an ale and an IPA and a baby, though. It's like the malt and the bitterness, like two, just like together in one. don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, like I think that that's an apt assessment for the video. Amber said that it's like what did you say, that like an ale and an IPA had a baby, right? Which of course an IPA is a type of ale. Let's just be clear. But yeah, India Pale Ale, right? And but I get what you're saying. Yeah, so like if you could like if I could expand on what you're saying too, it's like that classic like amber ale kind of like old school like introductory craft beer flavor meets like IPA essentially. I totally agree with that. I'm getting aroma wise, I'm getting actually some interesting hop aromas as this is like sat here and warmed up a little bit. Like it actually is reading a little bit like apricot to me. I don't know. That's kind of apricot. That's kind of like what I'm getting off of it, and just like a little bit fruity on the nose. And I think that that's actually a combination of those malt flavors and the hop flavors kind of marrying together and creating that aroma. I think it's pretty pleasant and unexpected for this style. Definitely that building bitterness that we were talking about. So bitterness also, if you're having any trouble identifying like what's bitter, like where it is. So on the tongue, right? We talk about like taste buds, right? Those are an actual thing. It's like could be described as kind of like a key and lock mechanism on your tongue. So basically, you have like locks, okay, that are located in different areas in your tongue for the different tastes, which are sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and umami. Those are located on different areas of your tongue, and the tastes of those 5 basic tastes in anything you taste, whether it's food, drink, whatever, they're the keys. So if you have a large concentration of sweet things, there's like, you can think of it as there's a bunch of sweet keys, and they're all going to plug into that like lock receptor that you have on your tongue, which is going to indicate to you that it is sweet and also the level of sweetness to it. So if you think about the tongue, it's going to be hard to do without a visual aid, but on the tip of your tongue, you have sweet receptors kind of off to the side behind that, salty, behind that a little further back on each side, sour, and then kind of in the middle in the back, like almost approaching the throat, that's where your bitterness receptors are. So when you taste something that's bitter, you can tell because there's a physical sensation that happens kind of towards the back of your tongue there. Also, bitterness is a taste that builds and continues to build kind of like without end. There's a limit to the human perception of bitterness when it gets to be around like 120 IBUs. This thing I think is around like 68 or something like that. You can check the beer book and tell me. 55. Okay. But yeah, that's kind of towards the higher end. It gets to be like real sketchy, like around like 80 to 120. Like telling the difference between those is very difficult. And once you get above 120, you really like can't perceive it. Like it just is like super friggin' bitter. Like that's how it feels. But yeah, that bitterness will continue to just like expand. So that's why if we're tasting things, or if you're kind of like, if people ask you what order to taste their flight in, I generally recommend those IPAs or the sours to be like towards the end, because they're gonna blow out your palate. And that's the reason that it's blowing out your palate, is because that bitterness just builds incrementally, whereas it tastes like sweet or sour, or sweet or salty really are kind of the best examples. They hit very quickly, but then they dissipate very quickly. I'll show you guys a graph at some point that kind of shows how quick and how things hit and how quick they dissipate. Sweet's the first to like hit very quickly and then drop off. Salty after that, then sour, then bitter. Umami is kind of all over the place. It's more of a straight line than up down kind of thing. But when you look at this graph that I'm talking about, the bitterness just goes straight up and it doesn't have a down. Like it'll continue to build. So That's kind of what I mean when I say like blowing out your palate. So this is the kind of beer that's going to do that. And yeah, it's, I don't know what else to say about it. I guess that's what I have to say about it. Anybody want to add anything? Any questions? Did we cover it all? Did we cover too much? I think we might have covered a little too much. Yeah, I'll send you the graph. It's really interesting. We'll send it out on home base or something. Sweet. Okay, great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.